Hi, everybody. So today I am honored to introduce this one magical woman. She's a Libra, if I don't get it wrong. She's a Libra, multidimensional being that she is. So I don't really know how to start introducing her, to be honest, because she's so multifaceted. Anyway, let me try to just think of you from the very beginning of how we met. So I met you like a couple of years ago in this event called School of Life, I believe. And you were and you were the teacher there, and my sister and I, we attended that course. So we're like, oh my God, this lady has real depth. And I felt very drawn to you. I'm like, let's connect. And that's how everything got started to unfold, right? And up to today, I'm about to introduce you is your energy and your life force spends so much in the sustainability, right? Yeah. And everything that you do, and you are connecting with the land, the people, and here in Taiwan. So I'm going to ask, see, I mean, it's really scattered right now. So I want you to put it all together for me, okay? So I know you have so much love for the land of Taiwan, and you wrote a book in your mother tongue in German, Taiwan, the rare, hidden jewel. The hidden jewel. And it's amazing how you are showing up as such an embodiment teacher. And I want to explore together with you about everything, okay? And now it's still very scattered. So let's explore together, okay? So my dear sister, Gabriele Seewald.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I remember when we met in this seminar in the School of Life. Oh my God, it feels like ages ago. And in a way, I feel it is. And we've definitely, I would say, both and also your sister Grace have had quite a journey since then. Journey of development, growth, healing, transformation.
Yeah.
And I love it, you know, to be honest, everyone, including myself, always has a hard time really introducing myself. So I always just tell people, just call me Gabi. You know,
yes,
Gabi, like Taiwanese for coffee.
Yeah, okay. So Gabi, right?
Gabi is Taiwanese for coffee. And for me, actually, I know it's funny, but it actually symbolizes the connection I have found, the embodied connection I have found with Mother Earth, mainly through the plants and the elements. And besides the fact that I love drinking coffee, you know, coffee is a plant, it's very earthy, it's very grounded. And my own personal journey really has been in a way from, you know, you could almost say leaving almost my physical body, in the sense of my spirit had literally left because of an accident that happened to my nervous system. And that actually brought me back on, like, I would really say, bringing my spirit really back into my body and doing this healing work, transformation, growth, and everything just became connected with my body. So I learned how much I can feel in my body, how much my body can tell me and teach me, and how through my body actually I have this very direct connection with the earth, with the plants, with the elements, especially water for me. But right, really, in a way, bringing, you know, my higher consciousness or my higher self, my spirit, back into this human body here on Earth.
We got a lot of talk about, sister.
Yes.
So let's narrow it down. So number one, so curious for the viewers to know more about your personal journey, how you started from, because your home is from Austria, and then how did destiny or your divine guidance guide you through, all the way to Taiwan, wrote a book, and then doing what you're doing about sustainability projects all over the world. So tell us more about this like exciting journey that you're on, because I really cannot link it together.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start. I'll share the highlights, because otherwise I think we could talk
Share
for
the
hours.
highlights. Share the highlights.
Well, it's very interesting. In a way, it really goes back to my dad. So my dad started to travel to Asia for business when I was about 1 year old. And there is actually a funny story in there. At that time, he started to come to Taiwan as well. And Taiwan, like this is about 40 years ago, Taiwan was really very advanced in terms of all the electronic devices that were developed here, that, to be honest, we really had no idea about. We didn't have them back then in Austria.
Yes.
And Austria, being a lot more, always has been very focused on nature, organics, high quality organic lifestyle, very actually, in a way, I would say, sustainable way of living, but never, making it a big deal. It's kind of just ingrained in the land and the people. And then he came back from a trip from Taiwan, and he brought me this small electronic piano. And it's so interesting, right? When we look back at our life, how certain moments where they're really like burned into our memory for some reason that we often don't understand in that moment. And I still remember I was just a little girl, and he brought this electronic piano, and I turned it around, and in the back it had a sticker made in Taiwan. And really, I would say this is where, without knowing it, like without being aware of it, actually my connection and journey in this life with Taiwan already started. And then fast forward, I grew up in Austria, went to school there, university there, everything. But we always, as a family, and also for my dad's business, we traveled a lot. And he started to bring me on business trips all over the world, including to Asia, of course. So when I was about 16, we went on a trip here, and I saw all these Chinese characters, and I heard the language, and something in me just kind of went, wow, there was a fascination there, like there was a strong emotion. And I told my dad, I want to learn this language. I just want to be able to communicate with the people here. And so back then, actually in Austria, that wasn't even that easy, to be honest. You literally had to go to university to study it. So then what I decided to do is, after graduating from tourism and hospitality management studies in Austria, I told my parents, I feel like now is the time. I would like to go to China for a year and see how it goes and learn Chinese. And that's what I did. And I spent a year in Beijing. So this is like 2001, 2002. Arriving there, really zero Chinese, couldn't even tell where does one word end and the next starts and things like that. But this is really, I would say, where I realized that I always followed my heart, always. And so from there, the journey took me, from Beijing a year, then it took me back to Austria for a year because I got a really great opportunity to work in tourism. Actually, it was the time when tourism from China just started to start up a little bit. And so I had the China experience. I could speak the language a bit. And then life took me for professional and personal reasons to Hong Kong, and essentially spent about 6 years, living, working in Hong Kong, in Guangzhou, traveling extensively during that time, really extensively in the whole region, including Taiwan, Japan, Korea, all of that. And it was a very interesting time. It was really a time where it was very focused, on in a traditional, let's say, way that we've been conditioned, I would say, build my career, start a family, all of that. And however, what really happened during that time is, which I only understood looking back, is that I really went away from, I would say my true nature, who I really am. And that's fine, it's like I made all these experiences, of being this businesswoman in Asia, of being this, of being that, it was a great time, and then my children came along and I took a little break. We were still in Hong Kong at that time. And then in 2009, we got the opportunity to actually move to Taiwan. And to be honest, at that time, whenever I had traveled before to Taiwan, it was literally just first flight in the morning from Hong Kong in and last flight at night out.
Oh,
and
wow.
Because I worked in luxury retail at that time,
Yes.
I literally just knew, the way between the airport and the shopping malls.
I have those times, don't worry. I have those times myself.
I know you did. That's why it's great. You can relate to it. And it's so like, and to very honestly, I was thinking at that time, like, my God, Taiwan, if I think of airport to shopping malls, it's really not very beautiful.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And so then we relocated to Taiwan in 2009. And I was really, really blessed in that sense that I had a whole year of just, helping the family to settle in, the children to settle in, my twin boys, they were 2.5 at that time, and to really just explore. And oh my God, I like completely fell in love with the lands, with this country, with the people. I was like, wow, wow. And in 2010, my daughter was born here. And, I was really in this stage of my life. I was living the typical expat Thai lifestyle.
Expat wife, right? Like high-end lifestyle.
I never imagined, or thought of I would be doing.
Yeah.
And then my daughter came, and during her birth, which ended up being an emergency cesarean, there was a big accident that happened, with the epidural when they put in the back by the spine, the anesthesia. And it really blew my nervous system. So what I experienced, really, I call for myself a complete breakdown of my whole system, like physical, mental, emotional, energetics, like everything just crashed. And it expressed itself in, my arms, my legs were numb all the time, not like fully paralyzed, but constantly in a state of numbness, but at the same time in a constant state of pain, like 1,000 needle pins. And because of that, all the rest that came with it, right? Not being able to sleep, depression, anxiety. Oh my God, what has happened to me? Because at that time, of course, nobody told me, and I did not understand at all what was happening. But I still, it's these again, these crucial points of memories, I say, that somehow I felt like our subconscious or my subconscious registered something. And in these very moments, I really want to say my soul in a way came through, because I still remember, sitting in the hospital, and my doctor had sent me to a psychiatrist, right? And essentially wanted to tell me, well, you have like a severe postnatal depression, psychosis, everything. And I remember sitting there and the doctor asking me these questions, about my family history and all of this. And this was one of these moments where, even in this complete breakdown, some voice in me was telling me, like, you are in the wrong place. This is not, there's something so wrong here. Like, that is not what this is. You gotta get out of here. Like, I was literally like, no. And so, like, later on, really in a way, in my healing process, tracing this back, and in a way really being in awe to how, even in these moments of total breakdown, right, where I would say in a way really my spirit had left my body, still, this voice was coming through, and this force was coming through, that I really experienced very viscerally. Wow, there is a force that is beyond me. Yes. That really is beyond me. And even as I speak about this now, I just have all the goosebumps running down my body. Like, talk about embodied experience. This is how I realized it is for me. I just feel it so coming through in my body. And then, thanks God, a good friend just said to me, you know what, I think you just need to see a Chinese doctor. And she brought me to this really, really amazing Chinese medical clinic. The doctor luckily speaks English very well, can, because I was in no condition to do, this is like really, complete brain fog, like walking, I wouldn't even say walking, like kind of just like dragging myself somehow through the days, and some days really not even being able to drag myself out of bed. And thanks God, my mom came to help with the children, and she brought me to this Chinese medical doctor. And again, a moment of, I really want to call these moments of embodied experience, of such a deep connection, also with other human beings, that I've become so grateful for. Because I sat, across this Chinese doctor, and of course he checked my pulse, my tongue, everything. And then he did the absolutely best thing anyone could have done for me. He put his hand on my arm, he looked straight into my eyes, and with this full loving presence, he said, "Don't worry, you'll be fine."
I'm like watching a movie, literally. I can't ask a single question.
No, it was really, and even again, I have to say, in this very moment, I didn't even realize the full impact that had on me. I only understood that years later, but it was so profound, because it was his, it was coming from his heart. It was the vibration of love, of compassion, but also it was coming from a total confident presence of, oh, you will be fine. So it, it transported such a message of so much that I didn't know at that time, right? But it's like my body, my cells received that message, even subconsciously. And the message was like, this message of love, of care, but also of this confident knowing of, your body has the ability to heal. And what I am here to do as the Chinese medical doctor is I'm just going to support your body to heal. And that's really what he did. So for 1.5 years, I saw him every week. And every week it was acupuncture, it was Chinese herbs that I kept taking every day. And, slowly over time, I started to feel like literally, my body, the meridians, the energy systems, the different systems, everything, it was just starting to mend itself back together, to repair itself. Yeah. And so, then I just started to feel better. The pain would reduce, the numbness started to go. I was able to relax again, to sleep again, which makes a huge difference, right? I mean, if we cannot sleep all the time, then, slowly, it's like my energy started to come back. It really felt like, like out of battery, zero battery, drain.
Yes. Like metaphorically, I just have to say, metaphorically, it felt like, because it was your daughter's birth that sort of like provoking what's been happening, right? Initiated. Yes. So you got initiated in a way to not only give birth to your daughter, but give birth to yourself. Wow, exactly. Goosebumps.
Right. Yes, now. Exactly.
Yeah. So more. I want to hear more. And and more.
And I want to really actually for a moment, because what you said is actually, I feel so important.
Yes.
Because over the years that followed, I mean, this is now essentially 10 years ago. So over the years that followed, after feeling better, having more energy again, then I actually set out. I wanted to understand and learn what was happening and why can my body do that with the support when given the right kind of support,
Yes.
And then not just my body, because the experience was, as you were introducing me as multidimensional, the experience was really also multidimensional, or I always say systemic in my whole being, right? It wasn't just a physical breakdown. I experienced how really it is connected.
Yes.
Nervous system damage, it really connects the physical with the mental, with the emotional, with the spiritual, everything. And experiencing that, but then also experiencing how with the right support, in terms of, the tools, the methods, the medicines, but also really in essence, who is giving that support, and with what kind of frequency, right, and consciousness they are giving it, like this Chinese doctor, right? And what a difference it makes, the words somebody speaks, the way somebody comes and says, just this very moment, looking back, I really understood somebody, trustworthy in their own essence, right? Embodied in their own love and care and original nature. Is that in itself is healing already. That in itself is like a healing balm.
Is that the pivotal? So is that the pivotal moment where you started to ponder, like, I'm actually able to regenerate myself in a way, right? Yes. And what's more about the larger scope of regeneration, not only you, but outside of you. And that's how you connect the dots, right? Wow.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. It was really the moment, where in myself, I just knew I can heal completely and regenerate. And that's just the journey that followed then is, in a way seeking out, but also because of that decision I had made and the feeling that I knew really in my heart, right, and in my body, that yes, I can and I will completely heal and regenerate and repair, then of course you also attract the support you need for it, right? So in a way, I started to meet new teachers, practitioners, different methods, and always I would say methods that combine East and West, that work on the physical and the emotional or energetics of the body, the spiritual, combining that, and experiencing always, coming back to what you said about embodiment. For me, really is I experience it myself in my body, no matter what is the method or the teaching or the tool.
Yes.
I experience it. And then from experiencing and actually feeling what it does in my body, then, it's like I want to understand it also on the intellectual level. And then I would go and study it, or study with these teachers, or read books and get the information to just kind of wind it together. And for me, that's the interesting thing, like I even want to, span the bridge to science now, right? And the way we learn or experience the world. Because I once read, and that was actually written in the Vedic scriptures already, that science is subjectively experienced objectivity.
So good.
And when I read that, it resonated so deeply with me, because I'm like, yeah, this is me, and this is my journey on earth, and it's actually very scientific. I am exactly having the subjective experience of what I then go and actually objectively verify.
This is really deep in a way that you and I were talking about what Zen is, right? What Tao is, right? And then what your journey while listening and almost like watching a little, film of yours, right? It really triggered me in a way to have this flashback of how I lost my hearing as well. And then how I gained the healing power back and start listening to, never being taught about listening to yourself. And then my ears have to get shut down in order to learn, relearn, and unlearn about what it means by listening to yourself, right? So everything starts from our inner nature. And you're talking about harmony, because now what you're doing is educating, you're promoting, you are spreading the light about why sustainability is so important and the harmony with nature. And what about our inner harmony with ourselves, right? Because this project is called Authenticity Project. And I wonder, like, what actually can prompt us? What actually can prompt us to connect deeply with our authentic nature? Do we have to go through all the ups and downs in order to get there?
Well, I feel the answer that comes to me right now is yes and no. It's like, in a way, yeah, maybe we have to, but maybe we also don't have to.
Yeah.
I think this is really, again, a very individual journey for everyone.
That's why we call it soul's journey.
Yes, exactly. Right. And in that realm, I just see and feel that really everything is possible.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, my deep, really deep heart and soul felt wish is, and that's exactly why, I'm sharing, or you could call it teaching, these embodied practices of connecting with your authentic nature, with your original self, is that people actually, or my fellow humans, don't need to go through that kind of pain and suffering that, you know, I had obviously chosen on a soul level to go through.
I did too. So yeah.
But then at the same time, that is not something that is in my influence, right? So everyone, I would say, has the possibility to do this in their own way and in whatever they choose or have chosen to experience. It has a value, it has a purpose, it has a reason, right? And but connecting it also with the sustainability, right? And this is what I realized through this inner connection, through coming back actually to my original nature, to my authentic self, is that I would almost say, well, what we are as human beings is we are organic intelligence, and we are just a part of this amazing organic intelligence of Mother Earth and the universe. And when we remember that and we embody that, and we, if you want, work with and from this organic intelligence, which exactly is that organic intelligence in my cells that knows how to heal itself, how to repair itself, right? How to actually bring itself back into balance and harmony. Because by design of nature, that's what we are designed to do. And nature is the same, you know, when something is out of balance, when something becomes disharmonious, right? Then nature, just by its own intelligence, just wants to always restore that balance and that harmony.
I want to ask one question then. So
yes,
we're all about like balancing the imbalance, right? So Tao is about the nature, the yin and yang, and how we're going to balance, you know, the part that's feeling a little bit off. So when you're saying about sustainability, and now how do we sustain our inner, let's say, ecosystem?
Yeah.
Right? Because collectively, if we're all out of balance, then of course there's more separation, there's more division in the world that we're experiencing. And what would you suggest? Let's say somebody who's just kind of like feeling off for a while, and they have the true yearning about finding themselves, and like, I want to connect to that part of myself that feels really true to me, but I'm just feeling off the whole time. Then what would you suggest to, I don't know, like, what's the best way to sustain their inner ecosystem from themselves first?
Yeah. And I think that's a key, by the way, because I love this word, inner ecosystem, because that's what we are. And when we learn to actually work with that intelligence that's already in us, okay? This intelligence is there. It's not something actually that we need to put there from somewhere, but we need to find that reconnection to that intelligence in us and support it, instead of constantly actually trying to control it or suppress it or cut ourselves off it.
Yes.
So my suggestion, the first one always is go to nature. Go to nature as much as you can, as often as you can. There isn't even anything specific you need to do there. Just go to nature, you know, sit under a tree, you know, with your back leaned against it. Go, you know, take off your shoes, walk on the earth, walk in the water, on the beach, in the ocean, you know, like really get in direct physical contact with nature.
I can resonate. Yeah, I can resonate more than enough, because every time when I kind of feel off, when I go, go somewhere in touch with nature, I come back with a lot of clarity, clarity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would say for me, that would be always the number one thing. And the great thing is, this is like literally doesn't cost anything, or you don't need to learn anything special for that, just immerse yourself in nature. And then for me, I would say the second important thing is, because also understanding that in our lifestyles, we cannot always do that. Or, we might be in situations or in places where we really feel, we know we are totally off balance, and we are yearning and struggling to just, regain some balance, but maybe we really cannot just go into nature. Then for me, it's meditation. I want to say a few words about meditation, because my personal experience, and also those of others, is that I feel there's often a big misconception about what meditation is. And I realized even myself at the beginning, when I got connected with meditation and when I started to meditate, I thought, it means I have to sit still in a certain position and just try to make my thoughts go away and my mind go quiet.
Yeah.
And I would be sitting there going like, oh, this is so crazy, so difficult. Oh my God, I cannot do it. Until then, I just dropped all of that. And again, I just started, to communicate with myself. And I said, no, you know what? I don't think that really needs to be in this one specific way. And let's try out. And the way I would almost say I eased into meditation was that I realized, wow, in the early morning after waking up, instead of just, jumping out of bed, or, turning around and telling myself, oh, I need to go back to sleep, I would just really breathe deeply into my whole body, just stay in bed as I was, but not going back to sleep and not right away jumping out of bed, but just connecting, connecting with my breath, connecting with my body, and just breathing deeply and just starting to feel in my body, and in a way almost scan my body, what's going on in there, how does it feel. And then I just discovered doing that, I started to feel so good. And I, feel this relaxation. And then my mornings, because, this is a few years back, I was still really in the healing process. My mornings were really difficult because I didn't yet sleep that well yet. And I would wake up, still feeling drained and exhausted. And, this conditioning of, okay, I gotta do something, And I realized, wow, this was so like, it brought me really into a completely different emotional state and mood as well, right away in the morning, just giving myself this like 20 minutes and feeling. And then sometimes when I felt they were really tense or even uncomfortable or maybe even painful parts in my body, I would just put my hands there and just breathe into there. And with that, I discovered really the power that we have in us just with the physical body and with our breath. And then I realized by doing this, it's like I didn't try to quiet my mind, but my mind would just get quiet. It would just go peaceful. Yeah. And then I said, wow, there's really something about that. And so then talking about the connection to Zen as well. So then again, looking out, setting out to understand, wow, is there other ways to meditate? You know, are they being taught? So then I got connected to Zen meditation, to meditative movement, yoga of Samara, which is like my personal, I connect so well to it, which really is a meditative movement and breath practice. And that's where I realized, okay, this is me, you know, this speaks to the embodiment, to, you know, going really into the body and connecting and being present and filled up with this light in my body, and supported then my body with its healing as well.
You know what I got to say, Gabby? I just feel like, you know, while you're speaking into meditation, into the Zen, into all the things that you share, I feel like I'm just receiving the healing power from you. You know, I just like soothed, like there's nothing else I would love to add or say or anything, just receive all the wisdom that you're pouring it out. It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I think one thing, let me just wrap this up because I would love to talk to you more. But one thing I would think it would be quite interesting for you to talk about is you have a diverse community called Awoken.
Yes.
Right. And I know the essence about Awoken is about how do we create more authentic connection in a healthy communication. Right. But because social media is a great platform to connect, but nowadays it's sort of going a little bit like twisted in a way that's not really based on the heart, but it's based on conflicts and separation, divisions. So do you want to share a little bit more about this part of the community that you're creating with other awesome leaders out there?
Absolutely, I would love to. Thanks for asking. So I would like to start by saying, actually, so Awoken is really a co-creation of 4 wonderful friends of mine who are all located in Hawaii. And 2 of them used to live in Taiwan for many years. That's where we know each other from and, you know, have co-created with. And they have then reached out and invited me to be a founding member of the Awoken community. And when I read and had the exchange with one of the co-creators, Lieben, I just had this feeling. It was like we were exchanging on this Awoken platform and what it is for them and what it is, you know, supposed to be for people who engage with it. I literally felt, you know, being awoken in my heart and in my body. I felt there was physically something happening, and I would really like to describe it as if it's touched this very deep underlying fabric of who I am, which actually I would say is like, yeah, it is this authentic nature of mine, but it's, you know, it's become woven with all the experience, all of it, you know, that came or comes with my journey. So I could really connect to this inner fabric of mine, which of course it has the scars, it has the, you know, where it has been stitched up, where it has been repaired. And I could literally, like, you know, feel and see that all of this makes this whole unique fabric of mine. And then I felt really in my heart, wow, how beautiful it is, you know, to be able to connect with others from, you know, our inner fabric and share this, and knowing that actually we are being received with this complete I really want to call it unconditional love and presence. And understanding and knowing that everyone's fabric is different. But it's exactly that difference that actually makes the diversity, right? And I really want to almost describe it as if, imagine you put all these fabrics together, what an amazing piece of artwork it becomes.
Oh my gosh,
and
it
this
absolutely
is what
is.
a woven really is about, that we can show up with our complete authentic fabric, with all of it, and we can express it and we can share it. And the way we are then received, and we dialogue. I love this word dialogue, right? Because we dialogue then with our own inner fabric and self, but also with that of others. And we dialogue in this space of where we can just be. And there is no judgment. There is no, or let's say, I wouldn't even say there's no judgment, because we're all human beings, right? But we can just learn to actually be aware of that and say, wow, in myself, I'm listening to the other story, and I am receiving their fabric, and I become aware that I do have some judgments there, or I have a completely different opinion, and that's fine. And we can bring love and light to that in us as well. So, not denying it, not saying, oh, we have to go beyond, like human. No, we're still very human, with all the things that make us human. But it's really about practicing, bringing this awareness and this love, right? Just return to love. Return to our authentic nature, which to me is love. And when we bring love to all this fabric of ourselves and others, that's what a woven really is. We become a woven, is this beautiful, joyful, sustainable humanity on earth.
I just have to say, by the way, everyone, if you're listening still, I have to say, I hope you feel the same level of healing that I'm receiving from Gabby, because I can just remain quiet the whole time and just like, my heart just like pumped up and with a lot of fulfillment, and just like, wow, I am interested to know more about woven, by the way, to really experience what that true authentic connection is, because we need to practice in a way, it's to be practiced.
Exactly. It's a practice.
It's a practice, right?
It's a practice.
So in this short lifetime, I think we're all trying our best to experience the best that we could. At the same time, practice is needed in order to feel that level of embodiment.
Absolutely. It is key. It is a key. I would say the only way we really can become embodied as, our authentic self is through practice. There's no other ways. In a way, it's like learning a language or anything else.
Yes.
If we don't practice, there's no way. So maybe just very briefly, what the Woven community online will be offering, launching this October, is 2 times a month. There will be actually a free online woven gathering where we practice exactly this. So there will be a short presentation on the topic, and then from there we go into this dialogue with each other in small breakout groups that will always have a moderator as well. And that's where really we invite everyone, no matter where you are in the world, to join in. And because we want to really give this experience and this practice. And then there will be, specific courses and other offerings that, of course, will be for a fee. but really this twice monthly practice is free of charge, because that's the key, to give everyone the opportunity to come in and to practice together and to become a part of this, you know, make their own, bring in their own unique contribution to this whole, you know, weaving that's happening.
Yeah, so if everyone who is drawn to our conversation and you can feel Gabby's energy, she is full of unconditional love, as you can tell. And reach out to her and ask her more about, you know, the offering about a woven community. I'm interested, so I'm going to get to know more about that. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your magic. You're amazing. I would say a real visionary that I'm looking up to, sister. Thank you for all you do. Your beingness, literally your beingness is infectious. It's infectious. You just watch me, like normally I talk a lot, like I remain silent the whole time because I just like, oh my gosh. Okay, so thank you so much, Gabby.
No, thank you, Jen. Aww. Thank you for doing this and sharing, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for having me and for sharing the love together.
Yes, yes. Authentic presence that we are all cultivating here. All right, love you, sister, and thank you for watching, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.